Today's build is one that I've been fearing for a long time, because just look at it. How am I supposed to build this thing in Minecraft? But anyways, today I'm finally tackling the Sydney Opera House, probably the most famous landmark in all of Australia. This was a really fun one to build, actually, so let's hop right into it. Alright, so here we are getting started with the nice little blueprint here. The world that I'm using here is just a world painter created world because I wanted to have a sort of specific design for the land area, because the Sydney Opera House kind of pops out a little bit, so I made this little peninsula here by hand. You can see in the background where the world painter world kind of cuts off there on the side, but that's not the focus. It doesn't matter. We're focusing on the actual opera house. So the world painter map is not important. It's the architecture of the building that we're making right now that's the real important part. So you can see me getting all the beautiful little details, the basic sort of shape of what the opera house is going to be. It sits on a nice foundation. I don't know if it's sandstone in real life. It's just a sandstone colored material, so I'm using sandstone for it here. I'm going to texture it just a little bit at the end of the video, but not too much because it does look pretty smooth in real life, but I did end up giving it a tiny bit of texture. But here is the actual building itself coming up out of the water here. We're going to get into the actual big impressive looking sails of the opera house. That's the terminology I think it's used for it, the sails of the actual building here soon. But we're starting off with some details around the actual opera house. We're getting some lampposts, some benches, some guardrails around this area because you don't want people falling into the water here. But yeah, there's that, and then some basic little glass window stuff like that. And now I am actually getting started on the proper sails, I guess is the terminology for the opera house here. So you can see the methodology that I used to get these things set up. I started off with a wireframe of the entire opera house, and then I came back afterwards and I ended up filling in the open spaces here. So what I did is I used Google Earth for this. I use Google Earth for pretty much all of my builds. So I'm thankful that the opera house had 3D satellite imagery on Google Earth, because if it didn't, then I would be absolutely cooked for this method here. So I'm happy that that was a thing for me. I was able to use the ruler tool on Google Earth. That's what I do for all my things. So if you want to build realistic things from Earth in Minecraft, use the Google Earth program. It has a ruler tool, very useful, very useful. So I was able to triangulate the positions of each sail, and I was able to connect them up like so, as I am doing right now. So you can see one part of the opera house is done right there, and then this is the second part. This is the bigger part. It's just a little bit bigger. It's not too much bigger, but you can see I'm sort of just making the basic shape of what these sails are going to look like in the end. It's kind of all jumbled all together here right now, but you'll see it will look better when it's all filled in and it's not just a bunch of lines going everywhere in a bunch of different directions here. But a fun fact that I learned while I was researching the Sydney Opera House blueprints and such and whatnot is that apparently all of these sails, if you put all the sails together, it makes a full sphere. So apparently they used a full sphere and then they unraveled it in a bunch of different sections to make the opera house here, these sails here. So that's a fun little fact for you guys. You learn a little bit here every day on my channel. We're a learning channel here. I'm an educational channel. So there we go. And now we are coming in and filling in all of these sails here, so it's not just wireframe anymore. You can see it's looking a lot nicer now that you can actually see the solid sails here of the building, and it's coming together really nicely. And I will say this turned out a whole lot nicer than I thought it was going to turn out. I was really afraid to build this thing because I did not think it was going to turn out the way that it ended up turning out. So I am happy with how this bad boy turned out in the end here, so I will give myself a little bit of a pat on the back here. And while we are filling in these in-between spaces here, in between the sails, I would like to give a little shout out to my own Discord channel, my own Discord server. If you want to join some like-minded Minecraft builders, go ahead and join the link in the description on my Discord server. We got some build battles and fun stuff going on there. A lot of fun people to talk to. Over 2,000 members, including myself. So go ahead and join that if you're interested at all in some Minecraft talk. So Yeah, there's that. And now we are filling in the end caps of these sails here. So you can see that in the empty spaces that I left, they are windows. So the inside is not just completely dark. There are some windows peeking out of these sails here. And then if we get to another angle, I'll be able to show you the other little sets of windows that are kind of peeking out. This is not a very good angle here to show that. And also, if I do sound a little different, I am a little bit ill right now, so I apologize for that. The insides of my body are fighting with whatever virus I have, and I will beat it. So hopefully by next week's video, I will sound healthy and beautiful again. It's not too bad. I don't feel super sick, but it's enough that I think my voice sounds a little bit different. So sorry about that. But my regularly scheduled beautiful voice will be back soon. But anyways, here's what I was talking about here. We have these little bits of window peeking up out of the tops of those little sail things there. And actually looking at it now, after going back and looking at it, I can see that these are actually not even windows up here. So just go ahead and throw everything I just said out the window. In the cinematics, these will be fixed. But I had no idea that these were not actually windows. Just the front parts of these are actual windows. So, hey, I guess that one slipped past me, so my bad, guys. So, a lot of light, a lot of beautiful Australian sunlight coming into the Opera House right here at the end. And I use these white stained glass panes here, and I actually use the debug stick to make them all perfectly straight, because if I didn't do that, then they would be all connecting together, which is not what I wanted to do. So I use the debug stick to make them all straight, and I have been using the debug stick a little bit more often in my builds now, because it's super helpful, and I haven't used it super often. But I guess since starting my city build series, a lot of the builders use a debug tool, and I guess I'm kind of getting nudged into forcing myself to use it. So I'm changing with the times here. I'm using the debug stick a little bit more, so maybe you'll see some more debug stick work in my future builds here, with some more fence work and like little tiny detail work, like with levers and floating buttons and stuff like that. I see a lot of builds on like Instagram. They just go insane with the debug stick. I cannot do anything like that right now. Hopefully, maybe in the future I can be super detailed like that. But as of right now, I'm a debug stick beginner, and you saw my rudimentary debug stick skills here on the Sydney Opera House. And here is the final little itty bitty building here for the Opera House. It's like a tiny little miniature sail building here, just two little sails right here. It's like a little separate building here right off to the side. Little cute building. I don't know what's in here, but it is a part of the Opera House, so here we go. And then it's got the little glass on the sides as well. So that is more or less the actual Opera House building. After we get this thing all built up and detailed up and looking all pretty and nice. And hold on, just look at the background there. Look at that. It looks so good. It looks so nice. I'm so happy with how this thing turned out. This is an A+ build, in my opinion. But now we're going to come around the entire build and add some finishing touches here. And there we go. It's the little tiny details that make everything look good. So these finishing touches really bring out the entire build and make it look nice and pretty. And we're getting a little tiny bit of texturing in. So now that we have all of that done, we are going to come into some final cinematics for this build. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a fun build to make. And big thanks to my Instagram followers for voting for me to build this thing. I would have never built it on my own fruition. They forced me by voting for it themselves. So thank you guys, and thank you so much for watching. Enjoy these cinematics. Stay tuned for the next video on my channel, and until then, have a great day, and goodbye! And of course, a big thank you to all my patrons. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, and an extra big thank you to my $10 supporters, Justin Kim, Voey, and Walker Army. You guys are the best. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and goodbye.